All right, so good morning everyone. Welcome to today's Monday edition of the Market Snapshot. I hope you had a blast over the weekend, and I hope we are all ready for what the market has offering this week. So, first and foremost, I would like to pass a disclaimer and let you know that whatever we offer here is not financial advice, but you can be able to use it to navigate or to make decisions throughout the day as well. So, as we all know, this week is not a very busy week. So, we can see today we don't have any major news events coming through. Neither do we have any coming through tomorrow. Sorry about that. But we shall be having the RBA monetary policy statement coming in tomorrow. That may be a bit crucial at 7:30 a.m. We do have the Canadian CPI coming in as well. Later in the week, we shall have the unemployment claims, as shall be bracing ourselves for the non-farm payrolls that will be coming through the other week. All right, so I think that's the news we are going to be looking at through the week that may really be a bit of major market movers. Besides that, today we have nothing crucial, anything significant coming through the day. So let's look at some fundamental articles and try to see if we can have some kind of fundamental articles that may be able to influence the markets throughout the day and see if they can provide some opportunities for us as well. So when you look at this, you can see dollar weakens on US downgrade. So if you're able to read our headline for the day, we spoke about the dollar dropping as the credit decision came through. So when we come to the summary, they tell us that US dollar index dropped to around 100.5 on Monday following a surprise, a downgrade of US government's credit ratings. So Moody's rating announced late Friday that it had stripped the US of its top credit rating, lowering it to AA1 due to concerns about the nation's growing 36 trillion debt. So now it's the debt that we have seen that Trump is trying to fight, and we can say even their credit rating has dropped. That means they do not have a major. That means what the loans they have access to are being reduced in simple terms. So because of the growing debt situation that Trump is trying to solve. So in a move that could complicate President Trump's effort to cut taxes, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent dismissed the cut's significance on Sunday, saying the administration would spur economic growth and outpace the national debt. He also warned trade partners that they will face the tariff rates President Trump threatened last month if they fail to negotiate in good faith. Additionally, a series of mostly weak economic data released last week have fueled expectations that the Federal Reserve will still cut rates twice this year, and the greenback weakened against several Asian currencies. So basically, what this is telling is that because of the debt problem that America has been having, the $36 trillion, their capacity in borrowing money or in getting debt has been reduced by the Moody's credit ratings. So they don't have enough leverage to ask for a lot of money. And in simple terms, if Trump goes ahead to cut taxes as they had been promising, that means he will need to borrow more to spend in the US as well. But Scott Bessent downplayed that and said that when they get the deals done, they will be able to solve the credit problem they are having. I mean, the debt problem they are having, and probably spur economic growth. So beyond that, we can just have a look at this article that says a week ahead, and then trade negotiations will remain in focus following President Trump's announcement in that the US will send letters to certain trading partners signaling plans to unilaterally implement new tariff rates, citing that it's not possible to meet the number of people that want to see us. Traders will also monitor a busy lineup of Federal Reserve speakers for additional insights into the central bank's policy. So in times like this, you want to be very, very crucial. You don't pay so much attention to what the you want to pay so much attention to what the other people of the Fed are talking about, because right now everyone is wanting to know that they're going to continue holding the rates, or they are going to cut rates. Of course, everyone would prefer them to cut rates, but just to be data backed. But then everyone's hoping they're able to get hints from what these different parties of the Federal Reserve will be speaking about, whether they will sound dovish or hawkish uh, in their different submissions or over time. So the economic calendar is relatively light. The flash S&P global PMI is expected to show manufacturing activity stalling and further slowdown in services growth in May. So they say new home sales are likely to decline, while existing home sales are expected to remain little change. On the earnings front, retail heavyweights such as Home Depot, TJX companies will report next week along with tech firms. So this will be our next week's earnings reports. Then I'll also have the ECB in sight as well, because you know we do have a speaker from the ECB this week. That will be tomorrow. The ECB will release minutes from its March policy meeting last month. The ECB cut interest rates by 25 basis points and removed language referring to its policy stance as restrictive, while warning that the economic outlook has worsened due to escalating trade tensions. So basically, the ECB meeting will just be they'll be releasing meetings so that people know how they took up the decisions and basically how they should prepare for the next rate decision coming from the ECB. And then lastly, here we can see that China's April data will unveil immediate impact of the aggressive US tariffs and Beijing's retaliatory levies. The unemployment rate and retail sales growth are expected to remain broadly unchanged, while industrial production is expected to have slowed. Of course, as we have seen major companies trying to move production from China to other countries with lesser tariffs, or even negotiate proper deals with the US so that they can be given way forward. So that's how, as far as these articles. When I look at Yahoo Finance on this other side, you see if there's any article that may be of significance to the news. So still on the credit rating, sorry, base tariffs may revert to reciprocal levels if no deals are made. All right, so I think from that, that's what we can look at on this side of the fundamentals. It's not a very, very crucial week in terms of data releases, but we have a lot of these fiscal policy and monetary policy announcements that will tend to look to probably cause some kind of volatility in the market as we go on through the week. So let's go down to technical analysis and look at what the major players are going to be giving us. So let's just do this. Let me just get my chart. Then you can go down to our technical analysis as well. All right, so now we are starting off. I think let's start off with gold. Yeah, so let's start off with gold and see what you can see in the market. So now I will look at the gold chart. This on a daily time frame. This on our daily time frame, and you can see gold has been pushing to the downside for quite a period of time. The previous days have been a bit bullish. Then we did some kind of rebound coming in from our major resistance support up flip. So this was a resistance, then a support flip level, and we did that rejection coming off this day. Then we saw a sell off on that Friday as well. So looking at this price action, you realize that right now our gold is hovering right around a minor resistance level that is just right below minor resistance level around here. So we're right around that resistance level. Now it's on a daily chart. And then when you come to lower time frames, try to build up a structure and see what we could have from this. So coming to the 4 hour, we still do have the same resistance level. And when you look above here, we do have this our previous kind of like gap up, and we can easily see price go to that level if we break above this resistance that we are seeing right over here. When you can see this high takes out the previous high, now this becomes our area of focus that we want to watch in terms of those who are wanting to look for buys. That means when you see a breakout, you can see a retest of this area, then price pushes to the upside, and this is on the 4 hour time frame. Coming into more intraday time frames, look at the 30-minute time frame, we do see price at around what we call a supply level that we can be able to use to take a confirmation and probably try to price in. Price can give us sells to the downside as well. So within this particular level, we expect to look for a confirmation or price to retest the 50% level of the supply level and then push all the way to the downside. So this would be an anticipation you look for. If you're looking for sells, there will be this area where you want to look for. If you're looking for buys, you want price to violate the supply level that aligns with this resistance, as you can see. So you can just keep one level. We could just keep one level around this area. So you can see price move to the downside if it gives us a lower time frame confirmation within this, or we could see it push to the upside if we see a breakout, then a retest of this supply level particularly, then you can see price go all the way up. In terms of going to the downside, how far can price go? We do have a level that is marked right over here. And of course, if you see price break below this level, we expect price to continue all the way to the downside into these daily levels over here that you can see. Or you could have this area marked out. So then you can refine this support level as well to be aligned by that. So this will be our areas that we watch for. We come back 30 minutes. We can then have a better outlook on our intraday perspective. Look for confirmation within. Price goes to the downside. Price breaks out, retests, pushes to the upside. That's as far as my outlook on gold is concerned. Moving a bit further, let's look a bit at the euro US dollar. So now this particularly from our last week's analysis. For those of you that were with us on Tuesday, we did see this area hold price, push and break out of this area, and again retested this same area that we spoke about from last Tuesday's session. And right now we can see that euro USD is inside our 4 hour zone. As anticipated, remember we had a small and minor support level here until the price broke below to sell into these levels, but said price failed to break below. Instead, it broke out, retested, and still pushing to the upside. So now going into today's price action. Going into today's price action, let me just get rid of this. So coming down to this price action, this on a 4 hour time frame, if you can just watch from this keenly, you will see that we do have some kind of a trend line, and it's like this where price currently is, and it's trying to hold out as well. So if we try to look for some confluence, especially just within the 4 hour time frame, we could have this whole level as our resistance level. So any breakout of this level here would mean that also this trend line has been broken. Then you can see a retest and push to the upside, possibly to the next free supply level. And when you look at the next free supply level, that would definitely be, we do have only one over here. This would be the nearest. Then of course, the other one would be way above this area. And that would be this. So in case of a breakout of this trend line and then this supply, this resistance level, then we'd see a retest and a push to this level here, where we look to take a second decision or another decision level. In case the area is broken out, then we'll wait for price to push to this side. And if the price breaks out, you anticipate a retracement to the same decision level where you could take a confirmation and probably hold the price to the upside. Other than that, in the meantime, where price currently is, we can look to see in 30 minutes. You can see it's a clear supply level as well. So you can look to see a confirmation, preferably a shift pattern within this area, because this is a whole decision level. You can look to see a shift pattern within the 5-minute, probably price creates its high, breaks out of this low, and then retests into our Fibonacci levels. Then you can see price push to the downside as well. So the idea is to be fluid with the market as well, or with how the market plays out. So this as far as Euro USD is concerned. Let's drift a bit further out to another currency pair as well and have a look at what we can anticipate through that day. So let's look a bit at Euro JPY. So we do have a chart on Euro JPY ready from here. So this was our anticipation from last week. We did have this level that wanted price to break out from and give us a breakout and push a bit to the upside. So this moved up quite some time before it eventually turned to the downside. This would have been some good momentum as well. So coming into this week, we did set correction all the way to the downside. Now coming into the new week, let's see what best we can be able to come up with. So let's start off with the daily time frame. So you look clearly on this area, means that on the daily time frame price did give us a breakout at this level here in terms of structure, and then we do have this whole area as an area of interest. So when you come down to refine this, so I'm making a refinement onto the 1 hour time frame, and I look carefully on my left hand side. I realize that this buy has been facilitated by the whole of free demand level over here that price is able to come back into. Price would come into this demand level that's facilitating the buys to the upside. So what we want to see is possibly now when you look at the 4 hour time frame, you can see the price is giving us some kind of breakout. So we want to see a breakout, then a retest to these levels where you can consequently take a buy to the upside as far as Euro JPY is concerned. So expect it to look something like this. You want price to break out properly out of these highs. Then you can see our retests back into these levels and then a push to the upside. So that's what we want to see on Euro JPY, particularly it's what I'm looking for as far as Euro JPY is concerned. And I'm telling based on a structure, because that daily time frame did give us a breakout. Then we did have a retracement into the breakout, into the areas that facilitated the breakout. So when you look carefully in a lower time frame, we could see that price that leave us a demand level that it could possibly retrace to, and can be able to look for those buys from there. So what that would basically mean is that any breakout below these areas would mean we look for sell opportunities. But as far as price comes back to these areas, you're able to go down to probably a 5-minute time frame or a 3-minute time frame and try to see if you can get in some buying positions. So the idea there would be to drop a time frame at more than a time frame or 2 time frames lower and look for a confirmation. It's always safer to have a confirmation because you're definitely aligning 3 time frames or 3 or more time frames to give you the same directional bias at the same time. So that's on Euro JPY. Let's move a bit further and let's see what other pair can we look at here in terms of currencies. Let's look a bit at the pound. Let's look at the pound. Let's look at the pound yen or GBP JPY. So the pound yen. So the pound yen structure we are seeing here is pretty much the same as the one we are seeing on Euro JPY as well. So here we did see that our price did give us a breakout similarly, and you're seeing our adjustment to the breakout levels. So this breakout comes to so this we have a breakout coming out into, then we have the breakout levels, and then we can see areas responsible for the breakout. So we do have some kind of rejection candlestick, as you can see, it goes down, then turns bullish with a long wick rejection here. So when I got the 4 hour, I should be able to see some kind of demand levels around these areas. So when we come down, as I was saying on the 4 hour, we expect to see demand level, and as you can see here, we did have these demand levels that are probably precipitating as buys to the upside. So similarly, just like we have seen on Euro JPY, we would love to see a breakout of these highs, and then we can consequently see price retrace back probably to below the 50% of the discount levels, from where you can be able to look for buys to the upside. And once again, any break below this demand level here would mean that we will be looking for selling opportunities. So what's going any break below this? Let me try to have a proper marking on this. I'm not getting the best possible visibility. Okay. Yes, so now this will be the demand level we're looking at. Once a breakout of this level is here, and probably a retracement to let's look at the demand levels below that are unmitigated, where price could possibly retrace to. So we can have this one level we have that's not mitigated when it comes to the 30-minute time frame. So if price is able to give us a 4 hour breakout of that area, we can expect a retracement back onto these demand levels. That will be our decision level to look for buying opportunities consequently. So GPJPY, that would be more of our outlook. We'll have to see a breakout of these levels, a retracement to these areas, then a push all the way to the upside. So probably these demand levels work as a take profit 1 and probably a take profit 2, provided we remain bullish as far as buyers is concerned, because we would love to see the pair go ahead on the daily to create a new higher high as far as the most recent price action is concerned. As you can see, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs. We expect this to be a higher low, then price can go up to create a new higher high on the daily based on that analogy we have right there. So moving forward, we can let's look at a bit at euro and the New Zealand dollar. So looking at the euro New Zealand dollar, we started had a very long rally for a couple of months, about 3-4 months. Then the previous month was very, very bearish. But when you pay attention to the kind of price action that we were receiving from within this area here, as you can see, this is correction type of price action, which means price is correcting. When you look at the daily particularly, you realize that this correction comes into these areas of interest or the breakout areas, we put the demand level as well. And this is where it now starts to try to change direction. So with this particular kind of price action, we expect that our buyers should be pretty bullish from here onwards. So going on to lower time frame, we want to see if we can align for more bullish scenarios. So right now, it's the price going to the upside, and we have these demand levels that we're looking at. So personally, I would love to see them get broken. I would love to see them get broken. I would love to see this demand level get broken above. Then we can see a retracement, then a push to the upside. So near and NZD, that's what I'm looking at right now because I believe the correction move we have seen in the daily has most definitely probably come to an end. So now we can now see if price can now prepare to take off to the upside at the same time. So coming to our way lower time frame, one of the things you can expect is for price to probably retrace down to these particular levels over here, from which it can be able to come and break above this resistance. So you can see price push down, then break above the resistance, then later on give us that breakout and push the upside that we're looking for in Euro NZD. So these are the outlooks you can definitely have as far as Euro NZD is concerned. So the ultimate goal is to break above this, then we can see price push all the way to the upside, probably create a new higher high, because you can see this correction move has started shifting to the upside, signaling the end of the retracement, or probably price has phenomenally formed a higher low. So now let's go a bit of let's look at Bitcoin first, then we can go into the indices. Let's look at Bitcoin. Let's look at the Bitcoin chart. And let's start from the daily as well. So wow. So you can start, we did have a strong resistance level over here. You can see rejections that we have been having around this area. Price rejected the open of today. Very aggressive line is pushing to the downside. And when you look at the downside, what's the possible area that price will have to go to? This is the area we are watching out for. So all we are going to focus on is seeing if price can be able to give us some kind of price action or confirmations that can eventually push to that area. So when you look at the pattern that price is forming around here, we have this kind of, I don't know, it's called a descending triangle, something of a kind, into this shape here, but then we see that it's narrowing to the downside. So it's narrowing to the upside. That means you can expect a breakout anytime on a retest, then price pushes all the way to those areas. So what we want to see on a lower time frame is definitely we have a breakout here, we have these areas here, between our breakout levels. So let me just get rid of this first. Then we mark this out rightly. So we do have this area here as our area of interest, and we see that this takes out the high on the left-hand side, leaving us with this area that's definitely a strong high. So one of the things you can want to see is a retracement of into these levels here. Using my flip tool, I notice that I do have this shoulder level aligning between my 6279 levels. So I really love to see Bitcoin push to these areas. Then I can be able to look for sells into the downside. Consequently, and hopefully, if I look at my daily time frame, if that push the downside able to break below these areas, then I can be able to hold that trade right into this bullish area of interest or area of area of liquidity as well. That's something you can do what it anticipate and look at the same time. Now this is on our Bitcoin. But other than that, it's pretty bullish. Though the sales will be a replacement, and this would be the best possible best buying area. And what we're looking at are just intraday opportunities and how best we can be able to capitalize on them. So anyone looking for sales on Bitcoin, it's more of an intraday opportunity. So of course, even if price comes into these levels we want to have it into, you would want to entirely base on a confirmation in order for you to take that trade, because it's our optimum trade levels. You want price to come in here and probably drop down from the 5-minute time frame and still get a right confirmation before you enter the trade. Without the confirmation, it means the chances of the trade playing out are pretty slim, and you don't want to be playing with chances that same way. All right, so one more thing we want to look at, let's look at German 40 index. Let's look at the German, where is German 40 here? Here it is. So now this is a bit of analysis that we did have in the German 40 last week, and we did speak of these particular levels as you can see them. We did have this level that price was able to come retest. Then we saw price break out of this level resistance, then retest it as well, and give us some buys to the upside. Now that was from our last week anticipation, and you can see that most of it did play out perfectly fine. Now let's look at what the German 40 does have in for us this week. So now it's on a daily time frame, and we do see that price has gone with a very pretty bearish move, a lot of bearish momentum to the downside. Now let's try to see what price is probably going towards, or what we can possibly see transpire through that day. You can see price began by going aggressively into these demand levels without a momentum. This is the particular demand level that price has come into with a lot of momentum, and to probably get decision level, we want to see if it gives a confirmation to the upside. Proper confirmation on a low time frame, definitely a 5 or a 3-minute time frame. Then we can see push and break above these resistance levels over here. Then of course a break below these levels would definitely see price come down all the way into this bullish area of liquidity, but that would be a break below this particular demand level. Would see us push all the way into these areas here. So yeah, nothing operated with the structures on German 40 are pretty direct. You can align this as well with this resistance support flip levels, and you see they work out perfectly well. So you can still use them. Price breaks below retest lower time frame confirmation, push to this area. Price gives a lower time frame confirmation from where it is right now. You're still pricing those buying opportunities consequently. So you can still set price is buying for demand level that I would expect to hold price and definitely pushing, because this would have been an area of confirmation for me as well. Look at these wicks, the lowest area is here, and price pushes from here, now expected to go to the upside from that particular level over there. So this is the outlook on German 40. All right, so let's look at Nasdaq or the US 100, and then we shall end with this. So coming from that daily time frame, so now this was still our analysis from last week. We can just have a quick recap on it. We did speak of price breaking out, then try and probably to retest these areas here. Didn't quite get to it as we expected, but then it was able to push up from there all the way to the upside. Just give us a small retracement, push all the way to the upside, which is still okay. Wanted to look for sales below this area, but we did maintain those buys perfectly nicely. So let's look at what today has in store for us. So coming from today's daily time frame, we do see that we did have so coming in from today's perspective, we do see that we do have a demand level. We do have a demand level around here. Price just slightly went through it, then started pushing to the downside, and we do have a very clean range to the downside. All the way to these areas, which is pretty okay. Would be something we would like to see coming from here to entirely be based off confirmation, of course. So let's go down to the lower time frame and see what we would be able to see from here. So from our time frame, consider prices began giving us lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs. So what we'd like to see is we have a support resistance flip level over here. We did see price breakout of this particular level, so we'd like to see a retest of these areas where you can consequently be able to see price push from there onto the downside as well. So you can expect that sell probably coming all the way to these levels below here, or the next demand level that would be all the way down here. So this is something we can anticipate to see in terms of our US 100 as well. So with the sales, we want to bank on them a lot because with the tariff easing and then some deals coming in on tech, that has been showing a pretty positive reaction in terms of some of the trade deals that the US has been making and some of the investments that are coming in from foreign parties into the US as well. So that's something you want to keep in mind when you're trading NASDAQ 100. So beyond that, I want to see if there are any questions that we can go through before we call it a day, and we'll see if we can have a profitable trading week as well. In the meantime, I would like to remind everyone what's the expectation on JPY pairs. So I want to use some analysis we had on Euro JPY. Where was analysis? The analysis we had on Euro JPY, where was this? Was this? So price has broken above our 4-hour area as we had anticipated. So we'll have some retracement into these levels here. Then we can see price push the upside on the JPY pairs. I'm bearish on the JPY index as of the moment. Similarly with GPJPY, you're going to look at the same structure that's being formed on GPJPY. So that's my expectation on JPY pairs for GBP USD. So do I have GBP USD here? Let's get GBP USD in the chart. All right, so this is GBP USD. So coming in from the daily time frame, first and foremost, because so you can see that price has been some kind of a consolidation over here. But right now we see a push to the upside that has been facilitated by the headline that we have today. That's the credit ratings have come in so bad for the US dollar. So you could easily see that the dollar weakens through that day, probably until they get more people can give us some bit of, I don't know, strength on the dollar. So I'll still expect this pair to buy through that day. As far as intraday is concerned, I expect to look for more buys on GBP USD. And let's see how far they will go. Probably the next selling area, where would that be? So there is no much clear demand level. So what we can see is probably we'll have a breakout right now on these areas here. We do have a breakout of these levels. So probably we can see a retracement, then I'll probably continue buys from around these areas here. So this is just a breakout area that we want to look at as a line, not as long to take a trade, but once price retraces to here, give you a confirmation and probably push to the upside. So that would be my outlook on GPUSD. Yes, good morning, Naomi. I hope people are doing great. So I just adding confidence into this. You can be able to utilize this as well, just to give you something more confidence. So you guys are retracement coming and probably reaching around the trend line area, just acts as a confluence. So in conclusion, I would like to shout out to everyone, and I would like to remind you to go and watch the episode of the Bullish Banter. We have a lot of content there for you. There are playlists. There's a beginner playlist for those of you who have just started. You'll be able to see that. Let me just see if I can have this shared here. Sorry. Let me just see if I can have this chat shared. What concepts do you use? The concepts I use are basically what they call logical trading. We use market structure and just pure price action. Basically, it's just logical trading, time frames and market structure. So just a minute, I would like to share a screen. Yes, so in conclusion, I'd like to remind you that when you come to the FX Pesa YouTube channel, we do have a lot of playlists that can help you with different trading strategies. We do have the Novice Pro 2025 in Swahili. We do also have the Novice Pro in English with our Rufats. So you'll be able to see it here as well. Then on top of that, we do have a podcast that's for you guys to see other traders and how they share their experiences and how they have been able to battle very many things in the market as well. So feel free to go through them, and then we can be able to help you improve in your trading journey. Other than that, if you haven't created an account with FX Pesa yet, check the link in bio, sorry, in the description as well, and be able to create your account and probably start off with your demo account and see how best you can be able to improve with all the content and knowledge we are sharing with you for free. Other than that, I would like to wish you a profitable trading week and a blessed day. So until next time, peace.